Let's do an organic chemistry practice problem. This one says a student performs a reverse phase TLC using water and hexane as the two phases. The mixture analyzed contains glucose and pentane, which is nonpolar. Which option correctly identifies the stationary and mobile phases and predicts which compound will travel further on the plate? So what is TLC? Well, TLC stands for thin layer chromatography. And this is a separation technique. In fact, any chromatography technique, be it thin layer chromatography or column chromatography, is always going to have some sort of stationary phase, which is not moving, and then some sort of mobile phase, some sort of solvent typically that is moving. And you put on this chromatography contraption some sort of mixture of molecules that you're trying to separate. And you're going to separate them based on their relative affinities for the mobile phase and the stationary phase. Generally speaking, the molecules that interact more strongly with the mobile phase move further through the TLC contraption, whereas those that interact more strongly with the stationary phase do not move as far. So the first thing we have to ask ourselves is, what is reverse phase TLC? In regular TLC, it is understood that the stationary phase is usually polar, such as silica gel, whereas the mobile phase is nonpolar. In reverse phase, it's the exact opposite. The stationary phase is nonpolar, whereas the mobile phase is polar. So in this case, we first look at the two phases they tell us about, water and hexane. Which one is nonpolar? Well, water is certainly the prototypical polar molecule, and hexane is, of course, nonpolar. So that's, in this case, since it's reverse phase TLC, hexane is going to be our stationary phase. So we got to rule out the ones that say water is the stationary phase. So C cannot be correct, right? And D is not correct. So it's got to be A or B. So stationary will be hexane and mobile will be water. And then in this case, between glucose and pentane, which one is polar? Well, glucose is polar, and therefore it's going to be interacting more strongly with water, which is the mobile phase, so it will travel further. And therefore A is going to be our correct answer. So remember the differences between TLC and reverse phase TLC.